welcome you to an episode of Play and Learn. Today, we're going to see and create the most magnificent thing. Now, you say, what thing is that? Well, that all depends on you. But I have a wonderful, fun story to read about the most magnificent thing. And after we look at that, then we'll decide what magnificent thing we want to create. All right? The book is by Ashley Spears. Yeah, Spears. And this is the cover. So we're going to see how much fun this is going to be to create. So let's take a look at the story and go from there. All right. The most magnificent thing. It's by Ashley Spears. Spears, that's her last name. And as you can see, she has a wagon full of all kinds of things. Let's see what she's doing. This is a regular girl and her best friend in the whole wide world. They do all kinds of things together. They race, they eat, they explore, they relax. She makes things, he unmakes things. Do you have a friend like that? Or do you have a pet that likes to do that? One day, the girl has a wonderful idea. She is going to make the most magnificent thing. She knows just how it's going to look. She knows just how it's going to work. All she has to do is make it, and she makes things all the time, so it's easy peasy. First, she hires her assistant, which I guess is her best friend in the whole wide world, her dog. Next, they gather all their supplies. They set up somewhere out of the way and get to work. Now, if you look at the picture, I'm not quite so sure they found a place to set up and work where they were out of the way. Looks like they're sitting on the sidewalk in front of her house. But anyway, and people are kind of going, what is she doing? Let's see what that looks like. The girl tinkers and hammers and measures while her assistant pounces and growls and chews. When she's finished, she steps back to admire her work. She walks around all sides. Her assistant examines the other side. It doesn't look right. Her assistant picks it up and gives it a little shake. It doesn't feel right either, he thinks. They are shocked to discover that the thing isn't magnificent or good. It isn't even kind of sort of okay. It's all wrong. The girl tosses it aside and gives it another go. She smooths and wrenches and fiddles. Her assistant circles and tugs and wags. When she's finished, she stands up, takes a long look at it. Her assistant gives a nudge with his paw. The thing is still wrong. She decides to try again. Look at her face. She looks a little unhappy with that one. The girl saws and glues and adjusts. She stands, examines, and stares. She twists and tweaks and fastens. She fixes and straightens and studies. She's really concentrating. She tries all different ways to make it better. She makes it square. She makes it round. She gives it legs. She adds an antenna. She makes it fuzzy. She makes it long, short, rough, smooth, big, small. One even smells of stinky cheese, but none of them are magnificent. I wonder what she has in mind. Her hard work attracts a few admirers, but they don't understand. They can't see the magnificent thing she has in her mind. She gets mad. She's not mad at anybody, just it isn't the thing she wants. The angrier she gets, the faster she works. She smashes and pieces into shapes. She jams parts together. She pummels the little bits in. Her hands feel too big to work and her brain is too full of all the not right things. If only the thing would just work. She's getting very upset. Crunch. The pain starts in her finger. It runs up to her brain, and she explodes. It's not her finest moment. I'm no good at this. I quit. Her assistant suggests a walk. Time to get out. It's not much help at first. But before long, she starts to feel different. Bit by bit, the mad gets pushed out of her head. As they stroll along, she comes across the first wrong thing she made. Let's be sure we look close at these things she's made. The bad feelings are about to start all over again. Then she notices something surprising. There are some parts of the wrong thing that are really quite right. The bolts on one, the shape of the other, the wheel to seat rotates of the next. They're all sorts of parts that she likes. This is the perfect thing to ward off beans. Beans. How do you ward off beans? I don't know. Maybe bears would be better. This will stop that leak, one lady says. This one's all wet. The afternoon fades into evening. Finally, she finishes. She alerts her assistant he was taking a nap and chasing a squirrel. The pair take a good long look. It leans a little to the left, and it's a bit heavier than expected. The color could use a lot of work too, but it's just what she wanted. They climbed aboard and take it for a spin. They are not disappointed. It is really the most magnificent thing. And what did she create? She created a car for her little friend. And she's very happy with the work she's done. The end. Well, that certainly was an interesting story about how she created something, and she really didn't even give it a name. I'd call it a sidecar for her scooter so that her and her friend could ride together. Isn't that cool? And I didn't count how many, did you count how many times she tried something? I think there was 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think there was 6 or 7 times she tried something. And then it all spread out, and she looks at it. As we read in the story, she liked this part and that part and this part and that part, but not all together. How many times have you built anything or had a picture in your head of what you want something to look like? I know I'm working on a project that I have this picture in my head, and I'm not quite sure it's going to work, but I have the idea, so now I'm going to gather the supplies, and I'm going to make the idea. I was going to bring something that I use to create the things that I create, but I didn't want to bring my sewing machine because it takes a lot of stuff to bring that and set it up, and it's too noisy while I'm running it. You can't hear me talking, and anyway. So I decided, well, that isn't going to work for me. So I decided I wanted to make a magnificent thing. As I'm sure you have magnificent ideas in your head too. And sometimes we don't draw them out. We just think about them. We know exactly, like she said, she knows exactly what she wants it to look like. But to get it down is a difficult job. And the other parts, too, is that she gets mad and she gets unhappy and she gets sad and she says, I just quit. I'm not going to do this anymore. How many times have you felt like that when you were doing something? Like a project for school or something you wanted to create, some new thing you wanted to play with, right? And it's not something you had, but it's something you had ideas about that you wanted to make. So I was thinking about that. What do I want to make that I think is going to be magnificent? I have ideas in my head of what I want it to look like, but I'm not quite sure about the end product yet. Sometimes I have to work on it as the ideas come up, and then I end up with a great product at the end. But that doesn't mean I stop and start and stop and start and stop and start. And one of the great things that her friend did for her was to take her away from the project. How many times have you worked on something and got frustrated and then just tore it all up? When one of the best things for us to do is to put it away and go do something else for a little while. Let all the frustrations out and get ourselves settled down again, and then come back and look. And that's when she saw, oh, I like this about this, and this about this, and this about this, and this about this, and all those little things that were right about all those things she did. And she was able to create what she calls the magnificent thing. So I wondered, what could I make and show you how to make if you wanted to make it, to give you guys some ideas and some energy to think about how to create something. So I didn't want to bring my sewing machine, which is what I use, to create things. She used hammers and nails and nuts and bolts and screws, and she used all those kinds of things. I use needles and thread and fabric and stuff like that to make the things that I make. So I decided, I have this picture of this flower that I like. So I think that's what I'm going to try to do with you. So I'm going to try these different things and see which ones I like the best, and maybe I'm going to have to make 3 or 4 to come out with the perfect one that I want to make. My first thought that I had is I have these little tiny flowers. I think you can see them. But it used to be a flower like this, and I folded it to make it a little flower like that. So that was one of the things that I thought about, that maybe that would be cool. That would be a really cool flower. I thought about that. So my next idea with the first idea that I had is I took a skewer, a wooden skewer, and I used my marker and painted it like that. And now I'm going to create a stem of flowers. This is just an idea rolling around in my mind right now as to what I want it to look like. So I'm not sure glue is going to make it stick, but we're going to try that first because that's what I have. So I'm going to take this little flower, I'm going to put some glue on the end of it, and we're going to see if this is going to work. I know lots of times I've worked with you and made things, and my first idea didn't come out so good. So I'm going to glue this here like that on that side. And to give it something else to stick to instead of just a little stick, I'm going to take another one of the little flowers and I'm going to stick it there. Now these flowers, I told you, I folded them into quarters and I used a staple to put it. Okay, there's a flower on the top. Whoop, see? That's not sticking, or I'm not giving it time to dry. That's probably the issue. Whoop. So that doesn't seem to, I think I'm going to give it some assistance here instead of time, because we don't have a lot of time to wait for it to stick. So what I'm going to do is take a little piece of tape. I'm going to go around like this just to catch the edges, to give it a little bit of help. There we go. So I think that might hold it like that. So that's at the top. So I'm going to put that there for a second. Then I'm going to take this, another one, different color, and I guess I'm going to start just from when I use the tape, because I figured out that works better. So I'm just going to do this one, fold it around, and just go again with a piece of tape and go around the bottom, around the edges, just like that. Now this I don't especially like because the staple shows. So then I'm going to take this one, put it here. See how that works? There. You can see the stem. And tape that. So I'm thinking tape probably works the best. Tape is wonderful, isn't it? One of those really great things. Okay, so there's two. There's that one. That's kind of skimpy. So I think we'll add a couple more flowers and see if that's going to be the flower that I'm really looking for. Do the same thing with tape and go around this one again, just like we did before. Now these are just my ideas. I'm sure you have ideas running around in your head right this second. Now this side looks pretty good because you can't see the staple, but I can see the staple again on the other side. So I'm going to take a different color, purple like I did before, and put it here like that, and use tape again. Okay, now I think in my thoughts, I think I want a bigger flower. These are just tiny little ones. It's pretty. Needs leaves. I have to create those. So there's a start. So that's something. I can still see the staples though. I don't like that part, so I'm going to have to fix that. So there's a start. Now, I'm going to take tissue paper. I have two colors. I have a light blue and I think this is a purple. I'm going to fold it in half. Fold it in half again. Now these are just the ideas running around in my head. And I think I'm going to fold it again like a triangle like that, and then I'm going to fold it again. So I have like a comb. See how that works? Then I'm going to take my scissors that are here, and I'm going to go, just kind of go like this. Make some petals. Just kind of into the tissue paper. Okay, there's that. So when I undo it, well, kinda. Okay, I kind of have that. Well, I kind of missed this part, so that's not quite what I want. So let's start from this part. Go this way. That's not the magnificent flower I was looking for. So I'm going to just lay it like that, and I'm going to do around like this. So I have curls around the whole flower. That's okay. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the purple. See, because I didn't have my paper even, and it's short on that side. So I'm going to go around like this. This is just my ideas. I certainly don't want to get to the point where I get angry that it's not doing what I want it to do. But I can keep cutting and keep trying. So I'm going to do this again. The other thing I recognize and know, it makes a little bit of a mess. At least what feels like a mess. Okay. There's that. Well, that's not too bad. Now let's take the blue one and put it in the middle like that. I think I want to use a yellow one. Okay. Are your minds working right now? Are you telling me what to do so that I have the flower that I'm looking for? If you have tissue paper and scissors, get your tissue paper and scissors out, and you create at the same time I am. And we'll see if we come out with those magnificent flowers we're thinking about. Okay, so now I'm going to take this one. This is the yellow. I'm going to go like this with it. I'm going to bunch it up like that. And I'm going to kind of twist it. Then I'm going to bring this up around it. And kind of go. Well, now see here, I don't like this little loopy thing here, so I'm going to do some more cutting. Not quite the magnificent flower I'm thinking of, but it's close. So now I'm going to bring it up like this and like this. And there's the bottom. Like that. That's one part, like that. But I still have that funny little cut right here, so I'm going to trim that. Okay, so there's that part. Now the trick is, how am I going to, I know, I'm going to take pipe cleaner, which I had, because you do have to have supplies when you're going to create the most magnificent flower, right? So I'm going to go around like that and come down like ouch. Okay. So there's that. Come and wrap around like that. Then I think I'm going to take some tape and just wrap around there. But this isn't very sturdy because I think the flower is just going to fall over because it's wobbly. Let's see, I'm going to take this flower out, see what this looks like. Well, no, it's kind of droopy, huh? I don't like how droopy it is. So let's see now, what else can I do? I have this other skewer that I think, whoop, I can take it like this and stick it in the tissue paper. Just go up to the center. Oh, see? Where is it? Here it is. So it's right there. And then I'm going to take my stick and wrap the pipe cleaner, and I'm going to run out of pipe cleaner, so I'm going to add another piece here and twist it like this. But you see how this is working? Because I have this picture in my mind of what I want this vase of flowers to look like. So I'm going to keep going around and around like this. Have you ever done this with a box? That you have a picture in your mind of what you want this box to look like or to look at? And you do it and take it apart and keep doing it. Okay, I'm going to wrap this around just like this. All the way around. And then I'll pull it up like that so you can't see the step. Now we'll wrap it around again, all the way to the end. And let's see if this is going to make a difference in how it's going to stand in the vase. I need some flour. Okay, now. That's better. Think that's better? It's a pretty big flower. There's that kind. Doesn't look too bad. And then if I add this one, well, if I add this one, you can't even see the little one because this one is so big. So I think what I need to do is make another big one. Don't you think? I need to do a big one. So let's do a different color. And maybe like a different kind of flower. So this time, I'm going to be more careful about making sure that my tissue paper is kind of the same size. So I think it'll work better that way. So now I'm going to trim here. And of course, this is all about what's going on in my mind right now of what I'm thinking I want it to do. So make sure I trim the ragged edges. My scissors aren't cooperating with me. I think I have dull scissors. Okay, now I'm going to take this, whoop, fold it in half, just like I did the first time. See what I'm doing? Okay. Now I'm going to trim this off so it's straight. Whoop, whoop. Okay. Then I'm going to fold it in half this way and then half this way and trim it off here. Okay. Now I have to be sure that I have my fold all in the same place. Okay. Now, making a mess. I'm going to go and do this. All the way down there. I'm going to make little cuts. Like that. Yeah. Oops. And I'm not being really careful about then I'm going to take all of that and then I'm going to go like this. No, I changed my mind. Okay, so you see, we're going to roll it like this. Trying to keep it even on the bottom. So. But I'm thinking about the ways in which she created her thing. And here we just have tissue paper and scissors and tape. So we don't need a whole lot of supplies to create what I consider most magnificent flowers. I'm making a vase of magnificent flowers. What I call magnificent, right? Yours might look entirely different than mine. It looks like a pom-pom. But I'm going to wrap it around. Keep all my leaves separate. There we go. Now I've got it all wrapped around. And then I'm going to take one of my skewers that I have and kind of put it in the middle. Probably should have done that sooner, but I'm going to push it up here like that. And go around it like this. Okay, and get out our trusty tape, right? We have trusty tape. Put a tape like this. But have you experienced doing something like you had an idea and you didn't really have it written down on paper? You were just trying all kinds of things to create something? There. Whoops. I think I'm going to trim these a little bit. There we go. I think I need a base. Don't you? Whoops. See? That's okay. I can still stick it in here. Maybe stick it a little deeper in there so it's tighter. And then I'm going to take, because it's not quite what I think I want it to be, like that. So I'm going to sit that in here for a second. And I'm going to take this blue that I have here. That should work. And I just want a small one, so I'm going to go around like this. There we go. Now, I'm going to leave it like this. Now I'm going to bunch it. Change my mind. I'm going to bunch it like this. Okay, see how that works? Just going to bunch it like that. Then I'm going to take the stick and stick it through where I just did. Just one hole, like that. Turn the flower upside down. Guess I need to work on this a little more, don't I? Is it going crazy like her things did? And I really didn't plan this. It's just happening. Okay. So in order to solve that problem, okay, So now I know what I need to do. I need to take tape and tape this on the skewer itself, like that. Then it's not going to fall off. Okay, now let's try this again. I'm going to go through here and put that around like that. There we go, now it has a base. Upside down. Kind of fold it over a little bit so it makes it a little bit tighter. As you can see, I didn't get great grades on flower making, did I? But that really doesn't matter because it's turning out to be what I want it to be. So there's that. There, now it has a base. It's all fluffy still, like I wanted. Okay, so now we're going to stick this one in here. There we are. And I think we have time to do like one more flower. What do you think? Those look pretty magnificent, don't they? Except we need leaves. We don't have any leaves on our flowers. So I think we need some leaves. What do you think? And the stems need to be a little better than that right there. So I'm going to take one more flower. This can go here, but it doesn't really get seen. And clean my mess up a little bit. Okay, I want to take, I have green. Do the same thing. Like that. So now I have a little bit open at the top. So I'm going to make a one that goes like this. And just, I'm going to cut it kind of like a leaf because I think we need some leaves. Okay, that looks like a boat. Looks like a boat to you? Does to me too. Okay, so now I have some leaves, like that. So I'm going to take the leaves and kind of go, kind of like that. Tape this to here. And do the same thing with these two. Kind of take this one to here. Now when you guys are making a magnificent, one of your magnificent things that you want to have, put this like this so we have some leaves. And I'm thinking we can probably do this. And fold it over on one side and fold it over on the other side and kind of go back and forth like that. So that looks like a few leaves anyway. I'm sure you guys can come up with some other wonderful ways to create magnificent flowers. And tape these. Like that. Oops. Dancing right off my stick. Gonna have to go around again. There we go. And I probably would do 2 or 3 more of these. But this, you get the idea. And then the leaves can be right there. So there's leaves there. And I'd probably do one more flower to give us a little bunch. So that kind of holds together. Take this one out altogether. So it kind of holds together like that. Do you see the leaves peeking out? There they are. Then we can twisty tie that together. I'm thinking we probably need a couple more flowers. But that'll give you an idea of the one bouquet that I made. And by creating one more flower, then I think we would have what I call magnificent flowers. And you can squish them like that to make them more texturized. So, that's my magnificent flowers. What's your magnificent thing? Can you create a magnificent thing that no one else can create except you, because you do it with your hands and your thoughts and your ideas? And I didn't get this out of a book, these flowers. I just saw it in my head, and I said, well, that's probably a way to do it, to make the flowers. So there we are. So you can see the flowers. Can you see them? Yeah, there you go. So we have pink. Yeah, we probably need 2 or 3 more flowers like that, but we're running out of time to be able to make more than that. So that's my magnificent flowers, and I'm sure you can come up with something magnificent, just like the little girl did in the show, so that she had her little friend be able to go on the scooter at the same time she does, which looked like a lot of fun. And using your creativity, your imagination, you can make a magnificent thing. Doesn't have to have a title, doesn't have to be absolutely what other people would call perfect, or look like Mother Nature created it. But we went from the ideas that Mother Nature have, like flowers and leaves and things like that, and we created our own. I created what I think are my magnificent flowers. So this week, create something magnificent just out of your mind and your imagination for something that you want to do. And if you need to find an assistant to help you with it, and you have a pet that you might like to have you help, or your mom or your dad or your sister, or maybe a friend or two, you can do it over the internet. That would be kind of fun to do. And see what each other comes up with. That might be a lot of fun to do too. That you can spend time with your friend on Zoom or on FaceTime and create something together. Yet you're separate, and it's going to be 2 magnificent things that you both create. So have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care. Bye.